Hello, good morning. How do I look? Like a lawyer? Whatever. My boy Junior. Anyway, um, want to talk about why we went to hands. Okay. When I coached in the wishbone in the mid '80s, we were a shoulder blocking team. Okay, shoulder flipper. We used to hit these great big old Gilman dummies. They're 100 pounders, and trust me, you couldn't hit those. Although I saw the Air Force guys trying to do it, they were hitting it with their head and hands. But I wouldn't do it. I'd say, Coach, you do it. We hit with the shoulder flipper forearm, and trust me when I tell you that shoulder flipper forearm, you can deliver a hell of a lot more force than you can with your hands or even your head, because your neck will snap. But we went to hands for a couple of reasons. Okay, the reason that we went to hands was hands are more adaptable to different blocking surfaces. Okay, uh, you can articulate your hands, pronate, supinate. Um, you can fit the different surfaces. Now, when you're blocking a dummy or a shield or a sled, it's a vertical surface and you can hit it with anything. You can hit it with your flipper, you can hit it with your head, you can hit it with your hands. But when you're blocking a body, it's the usually the chest, which you're trying to hit, is at some sort of an angle. Maybe you're hitting the guy from the side and you want to put one hand on his shoulder pad and one hand on his hip. You can adapt to the blocking surface. Okay, so if you train with shields, dummies, medicine balls, uh, a medicine ball, the reason we used it, not only could you adapt to different types of surfaces, but it was small. Okay, and it kept your hands close together and protected your own chest. Okay, and you had to learn how to control. It was similar to a baseball bat hitting a baseball. You had to hit that thing fairly precisely. Okay, we didn't use the great big old black stuffy puffy balls. We used these little tight green balls that I don't even think are made anymore. But we use small balls. Okay, so we could do this and make sure that we hit the ball. Okay, so basically, we use these things, these balls, okay, just to train hand placement. Okay, uh, maybe we use them, 5 minutes a day. Uh, and at one time, I kind of went off the deep end and we started using them for different types of strikes that probably we'd have been better off just practicing on guys. Okay, so it wasn't a magic pill, but it taught us not to flail, not to expose our chest, not to do this stuff, not to wind up. Okay. Everything we did was fairly well. We did a little softball pitching, but after a while, the concept of playing long meant that we were going to keep our hands in front of our head and we were going to precede all contact with our hands and not let the defender get to our body. Now, one of the reasons we went from shoulders and heads to hands was that if we got our hands on a guy and we happen to have our head on him, we could get our head back, okay, so that we could see linebackers. Okay, so any combos, if your head's buried in the guy, you can't see the linebacker, or you might be able to see him, but you can't do anything about it. But by bringing your hands and in this specific circular motion, also bringing your feet and getting yourself under control, you can accelerate, you can change direction, you can pick up a run through, you can see a twist. Okay, so we didn't go out over our toes, or if we did, like using teeter, uh, to scoot and what have you. We might have been over our toes for a while, but the idea was to get back under control. Okay, and the way to do that was to push our head off of the defender, okay, and bring our feet underneath of us. And this natural flipping, or I used to call it lifting, okay, did that. That was the machine that did that. Okay, and you can say, well, I block with my hands. I do, I'm a hand blocker. But if you're using your hands improperly, okay, and you're not getting them on the defender in places where you gain advantage, you're not, you're, I don't know what you're doing. You're running into a guy. I don't know what you're doing. Okay. If your hands are late and he hits you first, you got a problem. We never wanted to get our hands late on the defender. We always wanted to get them on the defender. And yeah, there's a safety feature. If your hands proceed, you're going to take some hit off your head, but you got a helmet for protection, and you can't totally take collisions out of the game. That's just the way it is. I mean, football's not safe. Don't play it if you want to be safe. Don't, matter of fact, don't play anything. Don't play in the WNBA because that's not safe. Okay, but by getting your hands on, you've got more control. And the human body makes force three ways. It pushes, it pulls, and it torques. Okay. Now, you can push with anything. We've talked about this before. You can push with your head. Hell, you can push with your knees. Okay. But you can only pull and torque with your hands. Okay. If you don't control hand placement, you I don't know what you're doing. You're certainly not being efficient with use of force. The other thing you got to remember is no matter how much upper body strength you may have, you're going to face an opponent with the same strength, size, maybe he's making momentum at you. And sometimes your hands or arms aren't strong enough to overcome that guy. And that's why we add forces. We're not we don't want to oppose. We want to add forces. Okay, we want to change the force that he's making. Okay, so it becomes advantageous to us. And we do that by adding force. Okay, we add flip or torque. And if we're hitting the guy from the side, boom, we go get him. Okay, we'll only have to deal with his mass unless he learns how to add force uh, laterally, like we do. Okay, but anyway, in order to transfer force from the hips, the big muscles, the core, to the arms, and then to the opponent, you've got to make your arms efficient. This is the best way to get long is to straighten out your arms. I can't straighten out my elbows anymore. Too many years of bench pressing, I guess. Okay. Or make them into those hooks, okay, a little bit more than 90, which essentially makes them shorter, so that you can generate more force or transfer more force from your hips to the opponent. And of course, you want to get the opponent in the frontal. You want to get him under the pads, okay, or the armpits, the handles on a suitcase, okay. And we've gone over this a lot, but I'm getting old, so I want to make sure that I'm doing it for myself and for anybody who's maybe new to me. Okay. So anyway, that's what I got for you today. And there we go. Use your hands, but use them properly. Okay. You're wasting your time. We don't hit people, we block them. Okay. We change them. Okay. And if you can't apply force to your opponent, you're not going to change them. Sorry.